Hoodwink was born on the fringes of the lush forests of the kingdom of Krimwohl, lands where untamed nature still held dominion. Her childhood passed in peace, beneath the ancient canopy, surrounded by the whispers of leaves and the songs of birds. But that serenity did not last. Soon, the flames of human greed began to rise. To feed its ever-hungry war machine and growing cities, the kingdom of Krimwohl felled the trees along the forest's edge, one after another, and clawed at the earth for its mineral veins. Each day, it seemed, another piece of Hoodwink's childhood paradise was devoured. The forest dwellers had only two choices: join the refugee camps in the tamed lands, or stand and fight against Krimwohl's gunpowder and steel. But Hoodwink's family chose a third path: flight. Under the cover of night, they fled north, deep into the misty woods of Tomokan, known to most as the Mistwood. That night, young Hoodwink looked back one last time and saw the glow of flames licking the sky, heard the thunder of falling trees echo through the dark. Her wide eyes filled with sorrow, and something else, resolve. In her tiny heart, she made a vow.
One day I'll make them pay.
Even if she didn't yet know how. The Mistwood was far from safe. Legends whispered that the forest itself was cursed, its shadows crawling with creatures of fangs and feelers, lying in wait for anything that moved. For Hoodwink, still just a child, life here meant learning from nature the hard way. She learned to move as silently as a shadow, to twirl like a maple seed on the wind, slipping past the eyes of hunters. Little by little, she turned her sharp wit and natural cunning into survival. She learned to hide inside hollow logs, to craft traps from supple branches, and to use the forest's own tricks to stay one step ahead of danger. In her teenage years, Hoodwink crossed paths with a band of forest bandits who lived in secret within the Mistwood. Sometimes, she mingled with them out of necessity, and other times, just to cause a bit of trouble for fun. On one of these escapades, she stole a small, greenish stone idol from an old abandoned camp. An idol shaped like a short, scowling warrior. Holding it up with a grin, Hoodwink said,
This little statue looks just like one of those mountain spirits I've heard stories about.
And with a shrug, she tossed it aside by the roadside. Years later, when the earth spirits awakened, perhaps they never knew who had taken and discarded their sacred effigy. In hidden corners of the Mistwood, remnants of long-lost civilizations would sometimes emerge. One night, Hoodwink stumbled upon an abandoned camp where a golden chest shimmered in the moonlight. Inside, it lay a magical chain known as Gleipnir. But before she could even touch it, a strange feeling gripped her heart. Under her breath, she whispered,
Oh no. If Gleipnir is here, that means he is too. I need to leg it. Fast.
She knew that this legendary chain had once held a monstrous ancient creature in its grip. Horrified, Hoodwink slammed the chest shut and ran. That night, she stayed perched high in a tree, sleepless till dawn, ears straining for the distant roars that echoed through the forest. Haunted by the thought that the Primal Beast, that massive, mindless terror, might be broken free, was now prowling the woods in the dark. Years passed, and Hoodwink became the cunning lady of the forest. A small, quick-footed squirrel with a bow far too large for her size, yet no prey ever seemed safe from her aim. She had explored every corner of the Mistwood and mastered every trick of survival. No longer did she fear the fangs and feelers of Tomokan's creatures, nor the snares of bandits. One day, A northern breeze carried the bitter scent of smoke and gunpowder to her nose. Memories of Krimwohl stirred once more, of her parents, of friends who might still be alive somewhere in the scorched lands of the south. Hoodwink muttered to herself,
Let's see who these devils really are. The ones who burned my home.
She moved quietly toward the border where forest met the edge of human settlements. At nightfall, hidden among the bushes, she watched a small Krimwohl soldier camp. To Hoodwink, they no longer looked like monsters. They were just people, tired, worn down, no more terrifying than the wolves of the woods. Watching them, Hoodwink gave a small smile and said,
So these were the monsters from my childhood? Just a bunch of bald, barefooted guys?
She noticed some of the soldiers glancing nervously into the forest's darkness, and they had every reason to be afraid, because they had no idea what clever little creature was lurking in the shadows, watching them.